Hey Thrivers, what's going on? I am coming to you this week from the car. I apologize for the background sound, but my life is a bit chaotic and this is the only time I can record, and I didn't want to skip. I was supposed to have something out to you guys a few days ago, and life is, like I said, chaotic, and it just got in my way and I couldn't bring it out. But I do have something that I want to talk about today. My chat with Mackenzie had to get put off. She had some sick kids, which as mamas, we all understand. Even if you're not a mom, I think you understand the plight of a sick child. It's just, it will sometimes take out your whole week. So that is still coming, but we haven't had a chance to get it together yet. But this week, I want to talk about accepting your flowers. Now, what do I mean by accepting your flowers? Well, I've got a few stories I want to tell, and I've got kind of a little bit of a personal testimony that might help some of y'all who struggle with self-doubt and have a lack of self-acceptance. So, the first story happened back in February to me. I was gifted something by a dear friend of mine that was just an unexpected gift, and it was something that I didn't even know that I really wanted until I got it, and it was just an amazing present. And not that friendship is found in gifts, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that this was something that was just touched my heart because it was such a beautiful present. And I got a phone call from that friend the night that I received it and that I opened it, because it was mailed to me. And this friend said, "Enjoy it, you deserve it." And during our phone conversation, this friend said that twice. "Enjoy it, my friend, you deserve it." And I had this little voice for a good, probably 20 minutes to a half hour after we hung up the phone and stopped talking. And he had said, "You deserve it." This little voice in the back of my mind saying, Do you really? Do you really think you deserve that? You don't deserve anything good. Who are you to get a present that nice? Do you really deserve it? And that bothered me, but I just kind of put it away. I was like, it's not that big of a deal. But it really did bother me, because instead of soaking in that moment and being happy, I was happy, but instead of being completely happy and believing that phrase, "you deserve it," I questioned it. And that was just uncomfortable, and it just stole the magic from the moment a little bit. Does that make sense? Kind of like, when you're a little girl or a little boy, I do not neglect that I could have guys that listen to this too. When you're a little child and you're blowing out the candles on your birthday cake, and you see that table of presents, or even just one or two presents on your birthday, do you ever question whether or not you deserve those presents? Heck no, you don't. You're a little kid and you can't wait to rip into them and find out what they are. You would never look up at somebody who gave you a present when you were a little child and say, do I deserve this? So what changes in us at some point? Where I can tell you what changed in me. I was made to believe for a very long time that I wasn't worthy of such things. That I wasn't worthy of really much good at all. And I didn't know that I had this block. But it keeps manifesting itself in all kinds of circumstances in my life. Second thing that happened to me, this was much more recent. This was probably a week ago-ish. Yeah, it was a week ago. Another person who I know just out of the blue paid me a compliment. And it was a compliment that I've never gotten in my life. And it sort of took me by surprise because I've always kind of thought of myself as a little bit of a nerd. Some of you might not know me very well. Hey, I'm Andy, if you don't know me. And I am a self-proclaimed movie and history nerd. I wear the badge proudly, but I don't feel like it makes me cool. And I've been okay my whole life with not being cool. It's just not something I would ever say about myself. And, I'm okay with my nerdy ways. I've come to accept it. But this person who I, just met not long ago, out of the blue said, "I like your style." I like your style. I mean, I have never in my whole life heard someone say to me, "I like your style." And I about fell over. Y'all, this message took me completely by surprise. I was like, me and style, I don't believe those two things go together. And instead of saying thank you, I was just like there's that little voice again. Who the hell are you to say thank you for a compliment like that? You don't have style. You are a nerd. And it was just, it's been very eye-opening to me to see that I have these blocks. I mean, it robs you of these moments. You should be able to just drink in. And I keep saying drink in because that's what it feels like to me when someone is trying to be kind. You should drink in that moment and store it in this little treasure chest in your brain so that you can go back to it when you're feeling really shitty. When something really, really stinking awful has happened that day, you can go back to that little treasure chest and open it up and say, I got good style. This other friend thought I was worthy of a stinking amazing present. And, they'll lift you up when you're feeling down. And another story. This is a quick one. But I have a girlfriend who we're kind of on the same wavelength lately. And we want the same things. Not all the same things, but some of the same things. And she just keeps saying to me when we are chatting or when we will message back and forth, "You deserve all these things. You deserve a good man. You deserve all the happiness." And I cannot shake that freaking little voice in the back of my head that's like, "No, you don't. You don't deserve much of anything that's good." And it just robs you, or it robs me of any kind of happiness in that moment. Because let's talk about what it is like when you receive a compliment. There is a woman named Dr. Michelle Rosen who is the founder of the Success Academy. And she says every time you get a compliment, it lights up the same receptors and centers of your brain as would be lit up, and you would feel the same way if you got $100 cash.
People react amazingly to kind words, and we kind of forget to do that. You can see sometimes the most difficult people melt down and go the extra mile just for a kind word.
Mm-hmm. Another phraseology, you catch more flies with honey, right?
Absolutely.
And so
works every time.
The same feel-good feelings happen in your brain that would happen as if you got $100 cash in your hand. I mean, I know some of y'all are thinking, I'd rather have the $100 cash. Neither here nor there. I mean, would you rather get the compliment or not get the compliment? I'd rather get the compliment. And I didn't know until all this went down lately, since I did 75 hard. That's kind of like the time that I kind of started to notice this, that I had this resistance to compliments. And I think it comes from just being in an environment for such a long time where they either didn't come or I just got the complete opposite. They either didn't come at all or they I got completely the other side, where there's all, this is wrong with you and you need to fix this, and, for such a long time. So it's also pretty interesting to think about what happens to the other person who's giving the compliment. If you give someone a compliment, and if you make it a goal to go out every day and compliment at least one person, it doesn't have to be something that you are consciously looking for somebody all day, every hour to compliment. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is try to do it once every day, even if it's just your partner, even if it's just your child. I compliment my child. I mean, I don't want to give her a big head. I'm trying to ride the line between confidence and cockiness, of course, but I try to fill her up with good things all the time. But if you go out and find just one person, preferably a stranger, because no one is expecting to get a compliment from a stranger, especially women, because we have such a competition thing, which is ridiculous in a whole other episode. But if you go find one person to give a compliment to, it trains your brain to find the positive. Because, like I just said, especially women who have competition, we are so guilty of tearing each other down all the time. I've done it. I'm very ashamed of it, but I've done it. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's just because I'm feeling insecure or I'm feeling catty because I'm not leveling up like I'm supposed to. Rachel Hollis just did this episode on her podcast, which if you don't listen to Rachel Hollis, what are you doing with your life? You need to start listening to her now. But she had this, I swear it should be a hashtag. She just had this thing on her podcast where she says, don't yuck up someone's yum.
Why do we do that? Someone literally just said like a joyful thing, right? They just said something that they were into, and then there's just this thing where maybe if you're not conscious of it, you will immediately come back with why you don't like the thing they just said they liked. We should not put up with ourselves doing this to others, and we shouldn't put up with others doing this to us. If you dig something, you get to dig it because it's your thing. So don't put up with someone yucking your yum.
And I really like that. I give her props for that, because it was like saying, if someone loves something, like if I come in and tell you that, I happen to, let me think. Okay, perfect example. I've got lots of friends, not lots, I've got a few who love to ski. They live for it. They go on ski trips, they buy the equipment, they take the lessons, they rock it. Not me. I'm not, no. I don't want to wear all that stuff. I don't want to get out there when it's, 15 degrees outside. I don't have any interest in. Now, I've thought about trying snowboarding, because that looks like fun. But skiing, no, thank you. No, it's not for me. But if someone comes to me and I'm booked this ski trip and I'm so excited and I'm going here and, I'm going to take these lessons from this new person and I can't wait to get up there and blah, blah, blah. What good would it do for me to tell them, oh my God, really? I hate skiing. You're going to be able to see the deflation on their face. There's no point in you doing that. Just be happy for them. If your girlfriend comes to you and you've had a bad weight week, let's say you either gained a couple pounds, or you didn't lose like you wanted to, and she says, I lost 5 pounds. Be happy for her. Just like I just said in the last episode, be happy, or episode before last, be happy for other people's wins. Well, this is where giving that compliment will light up the parts of your brain, the system that filters out good or negative to look for the good. Do it over and over again. I swear it's like a good exercise. You're going to strengthen the muscles in your brain that look for good things as opposed to bad things. Who wants to look for the bad? Life is hard enough. So all that to say, I heard another woman on a podcast. I'll have to look up the name. Her name is Helena, and it's a love podcast on YouTube. She has a pretty big YouTube channel. It's all about relationships, but she was talking to this other woman and they were going back and forth about how to raise your vibration to find love. While I was listening to this, I will tell you, it just automatically played on my YouTube list. I did not actively seek to find this out, but I love the way she put this. She said, "You're not accepting your flowers." And that is just like the coolest way I've ever heard phrased in words before what it means to take a compliment. Accept your flowers. Okay, so she called it accepting your arrows. I actually remembered it incorrectly, but I kind of like accepting your flowers better. So I'm going to go with accepting your flowers. But I still love the concept. She just called it arrows instead of flowers.
Can you explain what you mean by accepting arrows? What does that mean exactly?
So when you're out and about, men are looking at you and they're noticing you and they're, hollering your way a little bit. And it's so easy the ego wants to pretend like they don't exist. And instead, I want you to notice them. Today, I was out shopping at the farmer's market with my girlfriend, and this young man, I was looking at all the flowers he had, and he noticed me from afar, and I just went, "Hi." And my girlfriend said, she goes, "You can just flirt with all these guys so easy." I don't even look at it as flirting. He noticed me, and I know what he's noticing, that I'm a woman and that I have feminine energy, and the guys like that. And so I'm going to go, "Hi." And you just grab that arrow right out of the air and you keep it, because that's your power. That's your ammunition. You get stronger and stronger and stronger with every arrow you accept.
Because if someone physically walked up to you and handed you flowers, I'd like to think that you wouldn't be a person who would say, no, I don't deserve those, but no, that's not, no. You can give them to her over there. I doubt very seriously you would do that. So why would we do that with compliments? Like, I've always hated, and back me up on this, women, if you recognize this, especially in movies, when, like, old movies especially, it was in It's a Wonderful Life, and I adore that movie, but I can't stand when women do this. They'll get a compliment about what they're wearing, and they go, "This old thing?" I hate that. Why? First of all, whether the dress is 50 years old or 50 days old, you still look damn good in it. So why don't you just say thank you? This old thing? Why? I don't understand that. I have even before I ever had the idea of doing any kind of self-improvement podcast, I never understood why a woman would say, "This old thing," when someone says, "I like your dress." The only thing that's ever occurred to me to say when anybody likes anything I'm wearing is thank you. It's never occurred to me to say "this old thing." If y'all think you know why that got started, enlighten me, because I don't understand it. But accepting your flowers is just like, I think I'm going to start hashtagging that. If you all post something, hashtag accept your flowers if you're talking about this topic, because we need to spread this idea that people, not just women, all of us, we need to take compliments and just say thank you. Don't argue. Don't deprecate yourself. Don't put yourself down. Just smile and say thank you. And let's do it more damn often. Don't make things up, of course. I'm not saying that, but you can find something to compliment anyone on. One little thing, even if it be their shoes, you can find something to say, "I like that," or "thank you," or something nice. So, those are my thoughts this week. And I hope you all have an amazing week. I really am going to get with Mackenzie. I promise. It's just life is hard, and we're both moms, and I'm working 2 jobs, and it's a lot. So it's hard to make time, even for a few minutes, to sit down and talk to each other, because we're on such different time schedules. But we'll get there. We'll make it work. And I love y'all. And I will talk to you next week. Bye, Thrivers. Thank you guys so much for listening to Supergirl Thrives. If you like this content, please rate and review me. It helps others find me. I love all of you. And come and see me next week. Follow the show. You never know where we might end up.